Hi, this is John from Chicago and welcome to my channel. I love flying quads, and as much as flying them, I also love testing them and seeing what makes them go. I'm an engineer by trade and I love numbers and spreadsheets and things, and I like to present everything in a quick manner so everybody can see what's going on and to make their own recommendations on which quads are best for you. Today I'm bringing you a new Emax quad. Emax is noted for hiring pilots to actually do some of their testing and setup and tuning of the quads, so they give you a ready-to-fly quad that's going to work. It's going to work good. When I first did my reviews on Tinyhawks about a year ago, I looked at 12 different ones, and the Emax Tinyhawk was the one that got my #1 ranking for all around. There was ones that are faster, the Mobula 7. For outdoors, I think the Mobula 7's better, but for overall, all around, Emax was my top quad. About 6 months later, they updated it with the S series, Tinyhawk S. This has 4-bladed props, a can turtle mode, and it's a little bit faster and longer flight times and a little bit stronger frame. They reinforced a few spots that were having problems on this. Then they came out with the Freestyle, and the Freestyle everybody loved. These Avon Rush 2.5-inch props, really corner great, and they have a lot of speed, and it really handles nice. So a lot of people really like this. I reviewed it and I liked it. I don't think it was my #1, but it did handle quite well. And it has the batteries up above on top, which is unusual, which is good for freestyle because you want the weight all in the plane of your propeller, so you're able to control it better. There's no yaw wash or anything. It flies good. The last offering, or second to last offering, is the Tinyhawk 2. They took their Tinyhawk and they put a different canopy on it, and they upped a lot of the complaints on these first three are where the cameras aren't really great. They don't handle light good, and the VTXs are only 25 milliwatts, so their range is not very good. So what Emax did is they came out with a new Tinyhawk 2, and it had a better camera on it and a better VTX. The camera is a runcam 2. It handles light really good and color good. So for a nano size quadcopter or toothpick, this is your best camera out there. I think there's room for improvements, but right now it's probably one of your better ones out there, especially at this cost point. So what they did is they just came out with a couple days ago with the Tinyhawk 2 Race. They used the new camera and VTX on here, and the other thing they did was they downsized the propeller size. They went from a 2.5 to a 2-inch. Kebab, I know, was kind of upset. He was hoping that it would have come out, the arms would have been 2 millimeters longer, so you could use 2.5-inch props. And I think Andy RC thought that it didn't have quite the speed as what your Freestyle has. But some of the other reviewers say, no, it's just as quick, and I'm kind of in that camp. I'm going to do my complete review. I'm going to do a thrust test to show how these two compare in thrust. I think you'll be surprised. I'm going to do a range test to show what the new ranges are on these. See, these are good. Then I'm going to do a lap speed test outside on my playground track, and I'm going to even fly this in the basement. I'm going to show you how it flies inside. All the reviewers say, no, you can't fly this thing inside, but I'm going to show you flying inside. And then I'll put everything on a spreadsheet and make my recommendations, and hope you enjoy this video. Tinyhawk. The thrust was 366 grams with a power to weight ratio of 5.1. The Freestyle, despite its larger 2.5-inch prop, was 34 grams less at 332 grams of thrust with a power to weight ratio of 4.3. Now we are showing a range test for the Tinyhawk 2 Race. It has an SPI receiver, and most people have not had good luck, but I've had good luck. Most of my range on SPI receivers between about 220 and 260 meters. We're coming up to a mailbox here at 165 meters. I bump into a tree. This is my second time. The first time I forgot to turn the camera on. The second time I hit the trees a bunch of time, but it keeps on going. So I'm over 200 meters right now, and I get out to about 250 meters and it drops. It's either a VTX failure and it's also an SPI receiver failure. Now I'm doing lap tests around the playground track. I do 2 laps here. The first lap is at 13 seconds and the second lap is at 11 seconds. It's quite windy today. It's the almost a 20-mile-an-hour wind. I think I would end up being in the 10 to 11 second range without the wind. But now I'm headed into the basement to try this inside. I pushed it down to 1S instead of 2S with the jumper, and I flattened out the camera a little, and I'm just running slow around my basement track to see if I could not hit the gates, and it seems to be working pretty good. I think I do 3 or 4 laps around the basement. I'm going pretty slow. I could go a little faster, but my goal was just to make it and see how this flies inside. With the little propellers, you don't have prop guards, but the propellers are very strong, the 2-inch propellers, so I don't think you're going to break it if you hit anything, and in our basement you're not going to damage anything, so I think it's safe to fly inside. I did run it into myself on the outside, and I was going about full speed, and I was surprised. It didn't hurt that much. It hit my jeans, though, but it didn't hurt, so I think it's safe to fly inside. I do recommend buying this quadcopter. The Tinyhawk 2 Race has an excellent camera in the runcam 2. It has a fairly good range at 250 meters. It was more than the Freestyle, which was at 190 meters. It's fast. It's at least as fast as the Freestyle. It'll probably be a second or so faster on my track if I had very low wind instead of the 20-mile-an-hour wind that I had. The thrust was about 10% greater than the Freestyle also, so I think it's a good quad. It's fun to fly. The flight characteristics are good. It goes where it's pointed, so I definitely recommend this. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave those below, and thanks for watching. This is John from Chicago.